Joining me now to discuss his views on several currency pairs is Head of Global Alpha Strategy at Nordea Markets, Jonas Thulin. So Jonas, what are your current projections for Euro-Pound in the short, mid and long term, and what are your reasons behind these forecasts?
Well, actually, we have a slight tilt on the downside for the Euro-Pound. It's all down for us in the sense that we have a very, very weak Euro prediction. In fact, our one-year forecast is far below the consensus on Bloomberg. As you can see, we are actually at parity in a 1 year. The idea behind this is that we believe that even the ECB will have to enter a zero rate policy, i.e. pretty much slashing the ECB rates and going down to a zero rate policy, as the Fed has already done. And that will lead the interest rate differentials to not really be valid in terms of direct and guide the crosses. And then we think we will actually fall into relative balance sheet sizes. And if anything, if the Fed does not make a QE of roughly $770 billion, the spot market has over-predicted and overpriced the euro-dollar to the magnitude of 20 cents. So we believe that our fair value today should roughly be 110, 115, and going forward we think that the euro collapse, so we still envision, will actually lead to a level of parity.
What about dollar CAD? Are you predicting an upward or a downward trend for this pair?
Well, actually, there we have a slight upward tilt, because in this scenario that we have and what we find now in our leading models when we go through all the OECD countries, calculating the production levels, what's happening on the factory floors, the order index, the inventories, etc., we find that there is a coming slump in industrial production. That usually leads to a slump in commodity pricing as well. As such, we take a slight negative bias on traditional commodity currencies, such as, of course, the Aussie Kiwi CAD and even Norway in that sense, against the dollar. So we really see the dollar as being sort of the strongest currency for 2012. But that said, the big sort of story for us is still the Euroland and the Euro weakness. And we have a fairly harsh view on the Euro policy, where we pretty much think they're doing a Ponzi scheme and it's not going to work when the ECB's not in the driving seat in terms of, for example, the Greek debt settlements. So we think it's a disaster about to happen on that.
And finally, in terms of your local currency, the Swedish Krona, how do you foresee this currency performing over the next few months and indeed throughout the year? Yeah,
the Swedish Krona is really exciting for the time being. It's a bit funny at first to say it's really exciting, because we don't have a trade on it. We don't even have a recommendation on it. But the reason behind this is a true tug of war that's happening right now in the Swedish economy. You have a fairly sharply slowing business cycle in Sweden. The manufacturing companies in Sweden are planning and producing at the level they did in the depth of the 2008-09 recession. So not only do you have a sharply lower business cycle, but you also have a very, very strong stocky, which is, of course, making this all the more worse for industrial companies. And basically what the Swedish economy now is built for, being a high beta, very open economy, is that we need that kind of safety mechanism in terms of a sharply lower stocky, which we are not getting. That to us also means that there's something else that drives, for example, the euro stocky. And we think it's down to liquidity provisions from the ECB that pretty much pushes around the currency basis. At the end of the day, we believe that the business cycle will have the upper hand, and you're going to have a blowout in the Swedish Krona, as we see today, because the Swedish Riksbank are very, very, I think they are quite far behind the curve in terms of how things are looking in the Swedish economy. And that will make them catch up by, first of all, slashing rates, of course, which we believe is going to happen already in February. We think it's a higher probability for 50 basis points cut than that they're going to stay flat and do nothing. So we think there's a coming repricing of the Swedish Krona. It's not happening today for good reasons, but that's where we put our forecast.
Thank you very much, Jonas. It was a pleasure speaking to you. As usual, next week will be full of Targets in Focus, press reviews and exclusive interviews. So make sure you always stay tuned to Dukas Copy TV. Goodbye for now.